79%. Chapter 461. Kill them, don't let them escape. This terrifying scene shocked the local strong men present on the spot. They had only heard of the artifact, but had never seen it. Now that I see it, I know how terrifying the power of the artifact is. However, there are also very radical local strongmen who are roaring, "She will not let us go. Come together and kill her." Seize the artifact in her hand. While roaring, he went straight towards the holy light elemental elf Lilith and killed him. At the same time, more local strong men came out. They are all people who are unwilling to bow their heads to the Lord of Holy Light and become believers of the Holy Light. This is because they have their own god of faith. Ignorant and fearless, Holy Light elemental elf Lilith shook her head. Immediately, a cold light appeared on her beautiful cheeks, and she waved the bright holy sword in her hand to attack the local strong men. Conquer these heretics with war. High in the sky behind, the 12-winged seraph Mia also issued an order at this moment. If it's not soft, then it's hard. For today's Paradise Kingdom, it doesn't matter even if all the hundreds of thousands of local strong men present are killed. In the past, the Kingdom of Heaven still needed to recruit and surrender, and it needed strong people to join. It's no longer needed now. As for the power of faith that these local strong men can provide, it is nothing compared to the hundreds of millions of believers in Heaven Kingdom today. The most important is, they will soon go to the battlefield of all realms. Once they enter the battlefield of all realms, the collective arrival of their angel clan is not far away. By that time, their Lord of Holy Light will directly obtain the faith power of the 10,000 angels. In comparison, what do the beliefs of these native creatures count? They were persuaded to surrender before the war started, but they were just following standard war procedures. Since they are unwilling to surrender, they will not continue to waste time. As the 12-winged seraph Mia ordered. The hundreds of thousands of strong men from the heavenly country who gathered around them all started to kill the native creatures, using all kinds of combat skills, secret techniques, and magical techniques, like a tidal wave. In an instant, countless screams could be heard. That was the scream from the powerful native race. As soon as the two powerful armies came into contact, the local camp suffered heavy losses. Even if thousands of local strong men were killed instantly. Someone saw that the situation was not good and wanted to surrender, but the person died before the words could be spoken. Compared to the fallen angels, the methods of the holy angels are more gentle. But once a war breaks out, the holy angel will also turn into a killing machine without blinking an eye. Although the 20 million angels who came to this world were all newborn angels who had just been conceived in the angel reincarnation pool, they were summoned to the floating island world by Lin Yu. However, they were born with the fighting genes of the angel clan, as well as the inheritance of various combat skills and magical arts. They are born fighters. Not only does he have perfect combat experience, but he also kills enemies without mercy. Soon, the battlefield was covered with the corpses of a large number of local strong men. There are also strong men in the angel camp who have fallen. But before those local strong men could be happy, those who were killed by them immediately achieved perfect rebirth under the resurrection magic of the Angel of Love. This made the local strong men collectively dumbfounded and even more desperate. The enemy army is large and powerful. I managed to kill some of them, but they were resurrected by some angels using divine magic. How the hell do you fight this? Battlefront. The angel army is also unstoppable. The camp that killed the monster army in the wild continued to collapse. The corpses of countless wild monsters also fell on the battlefield. It has to be said that after this war is over, Lin Yu will definitely be able to harvest more than 10 billion units of animal meat at one time. Coupled with other resources and loot, it is appropriate to liquidate the warehouse. Under the influence of the angelic army, the kingdom's top military force, followed behind, and the battle became more and more fierce. They repelled the wild monster army time and time again. My hands were so cramped. I don't know how long it took. At the rear of the battlefield, suddenly a large number of kingdom professionals were shouting excitedly. Brothers, the front line of the wild monster army has collapsed. Further ahead is the local army from another world, charge forward. I saw Shaori and Xiaobanxi's army camp. Kill them, don't let them escape. Kill them. The time has come to honor our ancestors. Blow the horn of war and wash away their sins with the blood of their little days. Kill. Countless kingdom professionals were roaring. Each and every one of them looked like they had been injected with chicken blood. Many kingdom professionals were rushing forward desperately, and some were running so fast that they had even reached the front of the top-level military units, roaring and rushing towards the army camp of foreign professionals. Idiot. It's those Shah Kingdom professionals. Why are there so many people here? Damn it. Even the incompetent native races can't stop us. Let's retreat quickly. Wait for me, Smecta. When they saw the army of monsters in the wild being destroyed and the legions of local races being defeated in one blow, the foreign professionals such as Shaori, Xiaobangxi and others were immediately frightened. They knew that the war power of the angel army was very strong. But I didn't expect it to be so strong. In just a short time, the coalition forces they had assembled were killed until they collapsed. It's just horrible. Without daring to hesitate, all the foreign professionals made the same move at the same time, which was to withdraw the entire army. However, this is just wishful thinking on their part. Because the angels with authority had already taken action in advance and blocked their escape route with a barrier. Those strong locals couldn't escape, and they couldn't escape either. Little ones, don't even think about escaping. Your grandpa is here. Hearing a roar, a huge figure rushed over. It was a thin young man, but he was riding on the back of a wild boar king that was more than 20 meters long. Behind him were densely packed wild boar monsters, all wearing armor. The entire wild boar army rushed into the camp of the foreign professionals like a bulldozer. Many foreign professionals such as Shaori and Xiaobangxi were killed on the spot. 79%. Chapter 462 There is no right or wrong in war. The thin young man sitting on the back of the wild boar king is named Wei Sheng. Coincidentally, he is Lin Yu's classmate at Blue Star. Before coming to the floating island, his dream was to become a professional lord, then open a pig factory and become the boss of the pig factory. Now, his dream has come true. Not only did he become a lord, but he also successfully raised a group of elite wild boar legions. Have to say, his luck is very good. Not long after he arrived on the floating island, while hunting monsters in the wild, he revealed a building drawing of a military unit called Spiked Pig. The Spiked Pig is one of the more powerful arms among the lower-level arms. The disadvantages are low IQ, weak fighting ability, and eating too much. The advantage is that it has low IQ and is easy to tame. After he used several army evolution drawings to cultivate an elite-level spiked-haired pig into a pig king and adopted it as a pet, the summoned spiked-haired pigs became even more obedient to his words. Basically, it means hitting wherever you want, and being brave and not afraid of death. They are more obedient than his territory-specific soldiers. Now, he even gave up recruiting territory-specific troops and used all the gold coins he harvested to summon Spiked Pig. In a short period of time, he already had an army of tens of thousands of spiked pigs. The size of the pig herd far exceeds Sha Qingyu's Frost Dragon army. It is true that compared to the Frost Dragon army, his spiked pig army is garbage, and one breath of dragon breath can burn countless people to death. But on the battlefield of foreign professionals, this army of spiked pigs is awesome. I saw those fat and muscular pigs with spikes all over their bodies running rampant on the battlefield. With the powerful collision force and the shooting of countless spikes, countless foreign professionals such as Shaori, Xiaobangxi and others were immediately hit and shot to death. That scene was quite wow. The kingdom professionals who came from behind were stunned. FK. As expected of the famous Wei Zhu King, the awesome class. The Pig King is mighty. Brothers, don't fall behind and charge with the Pig King's army. The overwhelming number of kingdom combat professionals charged behind the army of spiked pigs. In the blink of an eye, the army of foreign professionals tore apart the camp and rushed in to kill indiscriminately. Whether it is the overall strength or the average level, these kingdom professionals under Lin Yu are higher than Shaori, Xiaobangxi and other foreign professionals. After all the kingdom professionals who have the courage to teleport to the floating island in another world have a lot of meat. Those who had no confidence all stayed on the original floating island to develop silently. On the other hand, foreign professionals are mixed in quality. Among them, there are those with high levels and those with very low levels. In terms of equipment, they are far inferior to the kingdom professionals under Lin Yu. No matter which floating island world it is, the explosion rate of equipment is very low. On this floating island in another world, there is no abnormal lord professional like Lin Yu who sells millions of pieces of equipment a day. Lin Yu gained a large amount of gold coins by selling a large amount of equipment, but at the same time, he also improved the combat effectiveness of countless professionals on the island. The combat effectiveness has improved. They naturally kill monsters faster and level up more rapidly. Lin Yu is snowballing. With the help of Lin Yu, professionals are also rolling their own little snowballs. It can be said that both parties benefit. It is precisely because of these factors that the kingdom professionals under Lin Yu are stronger than those foreign professionals such as Xiaori and Xiaobangxi on the battlefield. The combat effectiveness of both sides is the same as that of the regular army fighting the militia. The gap is not generally large. Not to mention, the morale of the two armies is not at the same level. The army of kingdom professionals is as powerful as a rainbow and unstoppable. The army of foreign professionals was completely defeated. They wished they had a few more legs so they could escape faster. Of course, the army of foreign professionals is no match for the army of kingdom professionals. Looking down from a high altitude, it can be clearly seen that the mountains and plains are full of foreign professionals who are trying to escape in a panic. The rear was pursued by a vast ocean of kingdom professionals. Every time they come into contact, scores of foreign professionals will fall on the battlefield. The kingdom professionals have gone crazy. Even if there were foreign professionals who couldn't escape and wanted to surrender, they didn't let them go. Because this is real war. Either you die or I die. Looking at it from another perspective, if the person who gains the upper hand is a foreign professional, they will also not show mercy. Before arriving, the foreign professionals collectively claimed that they would kill all Xia Kingdom professionals, thereby suppressing Xia Kingdom's extraordinary power in Blue Star and weakening Xia Kingdom's influence on surrounding countries and the entire world. There is nothing right or wrong in war. But only the victors can write history. Kill. The battle was also fierce at high altitude. There are densely packed flying units fighting. There are also lord professions in this floating island world. The flying units on both sides are attacking the other side's camp. Among them, the most eye-catching ones are the huge frost dragons. They are Xia Qingyu's dragon army, and their total number has reached more than 20,000. More than 20,000 frost dragons are enough to intimidate the entire audience. Under the leadership of the Frost Dragon Army, the flying units of other races also became more and more courageous as they fought. The flying armies that killed the foreign professionals continued to retreat. Countless corpses fell to the battlefield like raindrops. 79%. Chapter 463 Killing each other. This was supposed to be a fierce national war. At least that's what the kingdom professionals under Lin Yu think. Before the war started, they thought that foreign professionals such as Xiaori and Xiaobangxi could fight them for 300 rounds. The two sides were evenly matched and the fight was fierce. For this reason, many kingdom professionals are even mentally prepared to die on the battlefield. After the actual war started, they realized that they had overestimated the war strength of foreign professionals. Before the armies of both sides came into contact, the army camps of Xiaori, Xiaobangxi and other foreign professionals collapsed, and countless foreign professionals fled desperately. The fantasy scene of passionate national war did not appear. It's just one side running away and the other side chasing. The person running away is tired, and the person chasing behind is also tired. A slightly more intense battle might be a war between high-altitude flying arms. There are many lord professions from foreign countries sending their flying armies to intercept the armies of Xia Qingyu and others. Countless flying units started a large-scale fight at high altitude. However, the flying armies of foreign professionals still did not hold out for long. After only holding on for less than an hour, their arms and legions were killed until they collapsed. Countless flying arms fled in all directions, forcing the kingdom lords to send their arms and legions to hunt them down. Compared with chasing on the ground, chasing at high altitude is more tiring. Even for Xia Qingyu's Frost Dragon army, it is not an easy task to hunt down and encircle the enemy's flying armies. After all, there is too much room for escape. But it doesn't matter, because the entire battlefield has been blocked by the Quan Angel and the Lord Angel using the magic war shackles. Whether in the sky or on the ground, the enemy cannot truly escape. They have become trapped beasts. Similar war scenes also appeared in other areas. Originally, the coalition forces on the floating island in another world surrounded the three areas where the Angel Army was located from all directions. As a result, the Angel Army is now dominated by guests. Not only did they defeat the large armies of local forces on all battlefields, but they also used various sealing magic to cut off all escape routes for the alien coalition forces. A larger counter-encirclement was formed. This is thanks to the teleportation magic of Gate of Holy Light. The Quan Angels and Lord Angels, who had the ability to seal off the battlefield, were teleported to the rear of the Allied forces from another world, and a reverse interception came directly. Looking at the entire war zone, The total number of blocked coalition forces has reached more than 500 million. Among them, more than half of the enemies are wild monsters. The size of the native race's army is around 200 million. The number of foreign professionals, including Shaori and Xiaobangxi, is the smallest, only about 13 million. The total number of exotic professionals in the world is approximately 17 million. The remaining 4 million foreign professionals were basically unable to successfully gather on the battlefield in the first time due to the long distances. At this moment, those foreign professionals only have one feeling left, and that is luck. Through the messages sent by the participants in the island chat channel, they already knew the situation of the war and the experiences of their compatriots. The first reaction was to be glad that my legs were short. Otherwise, they would now also be hunted down by professionals from the Xia kingdom. Those Xia people are too strong. We are no match at all. They have an army of angels guarding the battlefield, and their morale is high. In addition to their high level, almost everyone has 2 or 3 pieces of equipment. It's normal that we can't defeat them. Idiot. The same group of professionals, how could they develop so fast? Someone must have cheated on that floating island. This person must be the ruler of the kingdom of heaven. It is said that his name is Lin Yu, and all the Xia kingdom professionals on the battlefield, and even the angel army, are loyal to him. He is the mastermind of this invasion war. Hateful. We must not let him go. He must be responsible for this war. My energy bar has reached full value and I can return to Blue Star at any time. After I go back, I will immediately contact the top leaders of our Sakura country to put pressure on Xia country, thus forcing Lin Yu to take the initiative to end this war. He is destroying the peace of the Blue Star world. This is not easy to handle. It is said that Lin Yu is about to become an immortal god. Whether he will listen to the senior officials of Xia kingdom is a question. No matter what, the information about Lin Yu must be revealed. Let all the countries in the Blue Star know how crazy and cruel Lin Yu from the Xia kingdom is, and then let other countries join forces to put pressure on the Xia kingdom. Tell them that if they don't do this, Lin Yu will invade their floating island next. Whoosh. I agree with this plan. Just when professionals from all over the world were talking about it. A piece of news from the frontline battlefield caused an uproar in the chat channel. Because some professionals claimed that their team was attacked by other professional teams while escaping. The scariest thing is that they are not alone. On the way to escape, a large number of professionals were killing each other. Many professionals did not die in the hands of Xia people, but were killed by professionals from other countries, or even professionals from their own country. At this moment, the entire escape area was in chaos. Idiot. Are they all crazy? On the battlefield of the national war, they actually started fighting on their own. They are not crazy, they are afraid of death. I heard that the entire battlefield was blocked by Lin Yu's angels, and they couldn't escape at all. They killed each other in order to replenish the teleportation brand with energy and then escape back to Blue Star. As soon as this news came out, the entire chat channel fell into dead silence for an instant. Kill your own people just to survive. 80%. Chapter 464. A war worthy of being recorded in history. On the battlefield, the kingdom professionals under Lin Yu were also stunned. They chased them all the way and killed a large number of foreign professionals. A lot of achievements. But soon, they were stunned by the scene in front of them. In front of their pursuit, a large number of corpses of foreign professionals appeared. There are traces of frontal fighting. There were also fatal injuries from being attacked from behind. This made the kingdom professionals confused, thinking that there was a team that was faster than them, and caught up with these foreign professionals in advance, and then wiped them out. After chasing for some distance, they finally saw the truth. Those foreign professionals were not wiped out at all, but died by their own compatriots. They saw with their own eyes that foreign professionals were killing each other. The means are ruthless. These little days are so ruthless, you can even kill your own people. Otherwise, how can we call it a small day? The dirty things that are not recognized by our relatives should be wiped out. Hurry up and record it with a photo stone. Scenes like this are rare. When I return to Blue Star, I will post them all to the professional forum, so that the rest of the world can see Xiao Li's face. That makes sense. The scene of foreign professionals killing each other is really not an exception. It happens on every regional battlefield. Those foreign professionals such as Xiaori and Xiaobangxi knew that there was no hope of escape, so they set their sights on their companions. If a professional kills a professional, he can also get rewards of source energy and recharge the teleportation brand. If they want to escape from the battlefield, they can only use this method. Especially after such an incident was exposed in the island chat channel, the number of foreign professionals killing each other became even greater. They can't defeat the kingdom professionals under Lin Yu. But there is no problem at all in F-king your own people. In the eyes of some foreign professionals, it would be better for their companions to die in the hands of Sha professionals than to be killed by them, which would also give them a chance to survive. It is with this thought in mind. A big melee broke out immediately. Those foreign professionals who did not participate in this battle are also in danger. The enemy comes from within. They were afraid that if they were not careful, they would be attacked by one of their own people and wipe their necks. Suddenly, an even more desperate atmosphere spread in the hearts of countless foreign professionals. Whether it was the army of professionals from the Sha kingdom who were chasing after them, or the own people, who had to be on guard at all times, they suffered the most cruel mental torture. Some foreign professionals who suffered a mental breakdown even chose to commit suicide on the spot. Of course, such people are only a minority after all. More foreign professionals are either on the way to escape or fighting fiercely with their own people. Until the army of kingdom professionals under Lin Yu caught up, they were still fighting on their own. In order to survive, they all fought hard. The war lasted until night. The army of hundreds of millions of monsters in the wild was the first to be wiped out by the army of angels and the army of the kingdom's soldiers. Then came the floating island's native race army. Die for death, surrender for surrender. Angels of the Holy Alignment are very benevolent indeed. Facing the surrendered native intelligent races, they will selectively use the magic of faith to purify their souls and make them believers of the Lord of Holy Light. As for the die-hard elements who are unwilling to surrender, the outcome will naturally be complete purification. The powerful legions of local forces were also wiped out. Most of the hundreds of thousands of local strong men fell on the battlefield and became the original energy for the angels to improve their levels. Only a lucky few survived and embraced the light. Finally, there are the foreign professionals. The angel army and the kingdom's army did not participate in the battle to eliminate foreign professionals, but handed this war over to the kingdom's professionals. Relatively speaking, kingdom professionals are still too weak. You need to grow up through war. Otherwise, if you go to the battlefield of all realms in the future, you will be dead. Those foreign professionals are suitable for training the kingdom professionals. The kind-hearted holy angels took very good care of their own people and sent many angels of love to join the battle with the army of kingdom professionals. The mission of the angel of love is to resurrect those kingdom professionals who unfortunately died in battle. And this move also made the kingdom professionals become more brave. After all, even the dead will be resurrected. They are still afraid of birds. Looking down from a high altitude. With the third area as the center, there are bloody battlefields for hundreds of miles. More than 10 million kingdom professionals are scattered in this area, coupled with the mighty army of soldiers, chasing down foreign professionals such as Xiaori, Xiaobangxi and so on. They didn't know how long they had been killing, nor how many foreign professionals they had killed. It wasn't until the next morning that the enemy seemed to be gone from sight. The war is over. It ends with the complete victory of the kingdom of heaven. A coalition of hundreds of millions composed of wild monsters from other worlds, local racial forces, and foreign professionals were all killed, and only a few successfully escaped. This is a war worthy of being recorded in the history of Blue Star. Because the number of foreign professionals who died on the battlefield is as high as more than 10 million. When the information about this war was brought back to Blue Star by the foreign professionals who, luckily, escaped, the entire Blue Star was shocked. The top leaders of the world collectively lost their voices. From the time Myriad World's floating island came to Blue Star to now, there has never been such a large-scale war. There have been wars between veteran professionals before, but compared to the death of more than 10 million professionals from various countries this time, it is simply not worth mentioning. At the same time, Lin Yu's name also spread throughout Blue Star. Like a big devil, it scares billions of humans on Blue Star. 80%. Chapter 465. Oh, God. At this moment, Blue Star was in an uproar. Countries around the world are in turmoil. The top leaders of every country want to suppress this war incident to avoid major chaos in social order. But this is of no use at all. Because with the help of technological power, messages are transmitted too fast. Plus, it's not just a few people spreading the news. Instead, more than 100,000 people spread it together. Some of these more than 100,000 people have escaped from the battlefield, and some are professionals who have experienced the beginning and end of the war even though they have not participated in the war. They come from various countries such as Sakura country and Banksy country. Immediately after returning to Blue Star, they passed all the information about this war to professional forums and the internet. With more than 100,000 professionals speaking out together, who can suppress the incident? Totally impossible. What's more, the nearby countries, including Sakura country and Banksy country, had no intention of suppressing the incident. Instead, they helped it spread internationally. The reason is simple. They are the direct victims of this war. Naturally, he wanted to seek justice, or to make Sha Guo pay the price. Lin Yu, the ruler of the Kingdom of Heaven, is from the Sha Kingdom. Those who invaded their floating island and slaughtered their army of professionals were also professionals from Sha Kingdom. Of course they wanted to settle the score with Sha Guo, who was behind this. If this justice is not returned, the neighboring countries led by Shaori and Xiaobangxi will never give up. After all, Blue Star has now entered an extraordinary era. Every professional is a pillar of the country. Whether we can open up a new future in the extraordinary new era depends on professionals. But what's the result? They finally waited until the all-world's floating island summoned humans to become professionals on a large scale. They thought that people from their own country could shine on the floating island and become saints and gods. How long has it been? Less than a month. All the professionals in their country were killed. Of course, they did not really kill them all. They still had millions of professionals on the floating island number 018439. Those professionals had to survive by chance because they did not participate in the war immediately. But that doesn't seem to make much sense. Because the goal of Paradise Kingdom is to capture their entire floating island world. As long as those professionals who were lucky enough to survive failed to fill up their energy in advance and escape back to Blue Star before encountering the army of the Kingdom of Heaven, they would end up dead. Therefore, they are not far from death. And this is one of the things that Shaori, Xiaobangxi and other countries cannot accept. More than 10 million professionals have already died on the battlefield. If all the remaining millions of professionals die and even the floating islands are captured, how can their country have an extraordinary future? They will be directly eliminated by the extraordinary new era. Its impact is that, not to mention whether it will destroy the country, it will at least reduce it to the bottom of the extraordinary era. From now on, we will have even less say in the international arena. In contrast, the Sha Kingdom, which has tens of millions of professionals and occupies 2 floating islands, will become more and more powerful. At that point, it will be even more difficult for them to turn around. Therefore, neighboring countries, including Sakura country and Banksy country, are hyping up this war incident and putting pressure on Sha Kingdom in various fields. In an attempt to pass through the Sha Kingdom, force the Paradise Kingdom to take the initiative to end this war. He even thought that Sha State would take action to punish Lin Yu, the initiator of the war. At the same time, big countries in other continents can no longer sit still. Especially beautiful country. Seeing Sha's professionals being lawless on the floating island, they simply couldn't bear it. He stood up immediately to lead Sakura country, Banksy country and other countries, putting greater pressure on Sha country. In fact, they don't care at all about the life and death of those foreign professionals such as Xiao Li and Xiaobangxi. They don't want to see Sha's professionals continue to grow in power. On top of that, they're worried too. What if Lin Yu, the ruler of Paradise Kingdom, after conquering number 018439 floating island, led an army to capture their country's floating island? So what do? Judging from the war strength currently displayed by Paradise Kingdom, even their beautiful country has tens of millions of professionals, but they still cannot resist it. Therefore, we must boycott and impose sanctions. However, soon, the top management of beautiful country became confused. Because in addition to the Sha Kingdom professionals, there were tens of millions of angels who invaded 018439 floating island. Seraphim, Lord Angel, Cherubim, Throne Angel. Everything you need. When the news spread, the entire beautiful country was in chaos. Countless beautiful Chinese people were holding signs high and cheering. Why, oh, God, that's an angel, the divine creation in the hearts of all Western Christians. They even believe that it is God's will for the angel army to capture 018439 floating island. And Lin Yu, who can summon angels, is the incarnation of God. To fight against Lin Yu's army of angels is to fight against their God. Therefore, as soon as the top management of Beautiful Country stood up and wanted to boycott Paradise Kingdom, countless beautiful people with faith took the lead in quitting. Boycott is absolutely unacceptable. They don't allow it. Because that is blaspheming their God. 1. 80%. Chapter 466 Crazy Westerners. Similar chaos occurs not only in the Beautiful Country, but also in many countries in other continents. All over the world of Blue Star, there are already countless crazy Westerners who regard the Paradise Kingdom established by Lin Yu as the real paradise. They even believe it. As long as they join Lin Yu's Heaven Kingdom, they will be able to obtain eternal life. Because their God is there. There is a saying that is right. Thoughts create the era. Conversely, it can also be said that times can shape thoughts. Before the advent of the extraordinary era, the Western Christians on Blue Star were still very normal. And when the all-world's floating island arrived and brought extraordinary power to Blue Star, the Western believers gradually began to become radical and crazy, because they believed that this was a miracle shown to them by God. They even believed that the person standing behind the floating island of the world is their God. Now, the kingdom of heaven appears. Tens of millions more divine creations and angels appeared on the floating island. They became more convinced and more crazy. No matter how the top officials of each country explain it, those angels are not mythical angels, in the true sense, but are purely soldiers summoned by Lin Yu, a professional from the Xia Kingdom. The Westerners didn't want to believe it either. To them, it doesn't matter if he is a soldier or not, he is an angel. Since there are angels in the world, there must be God. And Xia Guo professional Lin Yu is the incarnation of God. Because the angels listen to him. This is a very direct relationship chain. Western believers will not be fooled by the top leaders of their own country. They only want to see the angel army descend on Blue Star so that they can take their believers to the sacred heavenly kingdom. It is precisely with the support of this idea. The Beautiful Country and hundreds of countries on all continents are in chaos. Countless Western Christians are cheering for the coming of God. The chaos they caused even spread to the whole world. As a result, many high-level officials from various countries who originally wanted to boycott the Xia Kingdom and the Paradise Kingdom had to stop their efforts because they were worried about the rebellion of the Western Christians in their own countries. Tell me a very scary number. That is, in the entire Blue Star, the number of Western Christians exceeds 2 billion. And at the same time, the Xia Kingdom, shrouded in the whirlpool of the storm, was completely silent. The senior executives were also confused. Everyone felt like they had been hit in the face with a pie. Because Lin Yu is one of their own. The stronger Lin Yu is, the greater Xia Guo's influence will be on Blue Star, and the higher the rewards will be. As for putting pressure on Lin Yu to withdraw the army that invaded 018439 Floating Island, as well as the more than 10 million Xia Kingdom professionals. Do not make jokes. When something like this happened, it was too late for them to be happy. The number of floating islands is inherently limited, which means that the resources are not infinite. The Kingdom of Paradise can capture 018439 Floating Island, which has only advantages and no disadvantages for Xia Kingdom. When those tens of millions of professionals return, their Xia Kingdom's extraordinary power in Blue Star will immediately stand at the top of the world. This is also the dream of countless Xia Kingdom people. There is another problem. Lin Yu can lead more than 10 million Xia Kingdom professionals to attack 018439 Floating Island. This shows what? This shows that he has almost ruled number 014965 Floating Island became the master of the island, and gained the loyalty of tens of millions of Xia Kingdom professionals. Regardless of why Lin Yu was able to do such earth-shattering things in such a short period of time. It's a foregone conclusion that he will become the owner of the island. If nothing unexpected happens, the tens of millions of Xia Kingdom professionals on the island will become subjects of the Paradise Kingdom. In addition, Lin Yu also has a terrifyingly large army of angels and an army of top-notch soldiers under his command. What a terrifying power this is! The current Paradise Kingdom cannot be restricted by any country on Blue Star. Once something goes wrong, maybe even Blue Star will be invaded by Paradise Kingdom. Therefore, Xia Guo's senior management never considered putting pressure on Lin Yu from the beginning. Win-win cooperation is the right way. Going forward, if Lin Yu can become an immortal god, then Xia Kingdom can basically knock some of the Blue Star kingdoms to the ground and violently hammer them. As soon as possible after receiving the message. The first thing Xia Guo did was to investigate Lin Yu's true identity. They must find out which city and place Lin Yu is from. What is the specific identity information before going to the floating island? Only after mastering clear information can Sha Guo better prepare for future close contact with Lin Yu and the Paradise Kingdom. There is another problem that Sha Guo's senior officials still can't figure out. That's why none of the tens of millions of professionals in their Sha Kingdom has returned to Blue Star. Before this war begins, professionals from various countries around the world have returned one after another and reported information about the floating islands where they are located. Only none of their Sha Kingdom professionals came back. Originally, they were still speculating whether there was something wrong with floating island number 014965, and they were very worried. Now that I know the current situation of Sha Kingdom's professionals, they were relieved at first, and then their doubts deepened. But no matter what, things are always moving in a good direction. That's enough. When another senior member of the Sha Kingdom learned that the army of foreign professionals such as Xiaori and Xiaobangxi were defeated on the battlefield, they secretly said, "Good boy, well done." 80%. Chapter 467 Shocked Director Subin. Lin Yu. In a bright office. A figure with a slim figure and a beautiful face was looking at the computer screen in front of her with a dull expression. What was displayed on the screen was the Blue Star Professional Forum. As the war incident broke out, professional forums also became a buzz. Lin Yu, Heaven Kingdom, Army of Angels, more than 10 million foreign professionals were slaughtered, and other keywords were discussed wildly by professionals. And she is none other than Su Yi, the class teacher of Class 7 of Mohu Academy and University. When I saw the name, Lin Yu, Director Subin couldn't hold himself any longer for a moment. A pair of eyes widened. Because among her students, there is also one named Lin Yu. The key is, Lin Yu is also one of the students from Class 7 of the university who was summoned to Floating Island of all realms to become a professional. It can't be such a coincidence, right? Director Subin took a deep breath. The outline of the chest is very exaggerated. Although she was very nervous, she did not immediately identify the ruler of the Heaven Kingdom as her student Lin Yu. After all, tens of millions of Sha people were summoned to the floating island this time. It is not impossible to have the same name. She continues to collect breaking information about Lin Yu on professional forums. But the results were unsatisfactory. Because the relevant information was basically revealed by foreign professionals such as Xiaori and Xiaobangxi who escaped from the floating island, they knew very little about Lin Yu and the Kingdom of Heaven. No one has really seen what Lin Yu looks like. Because Lin Yu did not appear in 018439 Floating Island. This war was led from the beginning to the end by the Angel Army under Lin Yu, with the cooperation of the Sha Kingdom's professional army. Lin Yu did not take command at all. Wandered around the forum a few times. Su Yi didn't find what she wanted either. On the contrary, she fully realized how awesome the war power of Paradise Kingdom was. What kind of 12-winged seraph can instantly kill millions of wild monsters with one move? A round of artillery bombardment killed millions of enemy soldiers in the City of Angels. An overwhelming battle that killed hundreds of thousands of local strong men. A war that killed hundreds of millions of coalition troops. Etc., etc. Picture after picture appeared in Amelia Su's mind. Just reading the text, her blood boiled with excitement. This is the real extraordinary war. The wars she participated in the past were just small fights in comparison and could not be brought to the forefront. It's only been less than a month. Su Yi's expression was shocked. Although it was impossible to determine whether Lin Yu was her student, this did not prevent her from being shocked by Lin Yu's growth rate. As one of the first batch of veteran professionals to enter Myriad World's floating island, she has been developing for a whole year, and her current level is only at the late king level. In fact, she had already reached this level a few months ago. I have been stuck in place, unable to break through. This is because her squad was destroyed in a battle. She was the only one left alive. With the team gone, she would naturally not be able to kill extraordinary level enemies with her own strength. If a combat professional wants to break through the king level and advance to the extraordinary level, he needs to kill 3 extraordinary enemies. How can she, an elementalist with extremely weak self-preservation ability, kill enemies beyond the level? The gap between extraordinary and king level people can reach more than 10 times. Seeing that there was no hope of a breakthrough, she could only return to Blue Star from time to time, working as a class tutor at the Magic Martial Arts Academy while looking for other help. Now that she sees Lin Yu growing up so fast, she is naturally shocked and envious. She had reason to be suspicious. Lin Yu is now a demigod. After all, there are so many powerful demigods under his command. Not only angels, but also mountain giants, nature elves. These are all native races of the floating island conquered by the Paradise Kingdom, and there are a huge number of demigods. The people under my command are so strong. As the ruler of the Kingdom of Heaven, Lin Yu's level cannot be any lower. If she hadn't known that the floating island was an incomplete world that could not bear the emergence of a true god, she would have suspected that Lin Yu had become a true god. Otherwise, how could she open up a battlefield in another world? Just when Su Yi was thinking wildly, several figures wearing armor walked into the office. The leader was a middle-aged man, whose aura reached an extraordinary level. He said to Su Yi with a smile on his face, "Teacher Su, we would like to know some information about a student named Lin Yu in your 7th class. Is it inconvenient for you? See these figures." Su Yi's expression suddenly became solemn. She knew that this was the country's special department. The speed is really fast. Su Yi secretly said something, and then nodded. An hour later, seeing that the middle-aged man had no other questions, Su Yi took the initiative and asked, "Captain Chen, are you sure that Lin Yu is a student of our college?" Hearing this, the middle-aged man named Chen shook his head. While putting away the collected information, he said, "It's not certain yet, I can only say that there is a probability." This is pure bullshit. Su Yi secretly rolled her eyes. At this time, Captain Chen smiled and said to Su Yi, "Although I don't know the reason why our professionals are temporarily unable to return to Blue Star, I believe that with the strength of Paradise Kingdom, this problem will be solved soon. Who Lin Yu is, we will find out soon." Hearing this, Su Yi also nodded. All they can do now is wait. And not just them, the whole world is waiting. 80%. Chapter 468. Strength is the foundation. Holy City. Lin Yu, who was on the floating island, didn't know about the turmoil that occurred on Blue Star. Little did he know that billions of humans around the world were shocked by his power. Of course, he didn't know that there were more than 2 billion Western Christians on Blue Star worshipping him crazily and praying that he could quickly bring his army of angels and gods will to Blue Star. Oh my God, this is what Western Christians often say. Now, God really shows up. How could they not be excited? At this moment, Lin Yu was checking the war information reported by the 12-winged Seraph Mia, one of the commanders of the Angel Army. After the war on number 018439 floating island ended, 12-winged Seraph Mia immediately reported the battle situation to him. The battle situation information also includes the fact that more than 10 million foreign professionals such as Xiaori, Xiaobangxi and others were wiped out. In this national war, the professionals of the kingdom won completely. Although according to post-war statistics, there were approximately 3 million casualties among the kingdom's professionals in this war, they were basically resurrected by the angels of love who accompanied the army. Angels of love are special angels. The lowest ones are 6 wings. The strength is much stronger than that of kingdom professionals. Resurrecting them can be said to be a piece of cake. With the angel of love around, as long as the souls of the kingdom professionals are not destroyed, it can be said that it would be difficult for them to die. In this national war, among the foreign professionals such as Xiaori and Xiaobangxi they encountered, naturally no one had the ability to destroy souls. So, this can be said to be a perfect victory. But overall, the strength of professionals is still a bit weak. Lin Yu's army of angels and top-level troops swept away hundreds of millions of wild monsters and native races, without losing 3 million in total. Totally crushing. In comparison, the strength of kingdom professionals is too weak. It doesn't matter now, the angel of love is here and can easily revive them. When it comes to the 10,000 realms battlefield, that won't necessarily be the case. Because the battlefield of all realms is a world where true gods are flying everywhere and demigods are as numerous as dogs. In such a world, it can be said to be easy to destroy the souls of living beings. It's like a true god. Even if you don't have the magic to master the soul level, you only need to use divine power or the laws of the true god to easily destroy and annihilate the souls of the kingdom professionals. The angel of love's resurrection magic can only be successfully performed on the basis that the soul has not disappeared. Once the soul is destroyed, the resurrection spell has no effect. If such a creature wants to be resurrected, it must either reverse time and space, or use great power to forcibly shake the river of destiny, and resurrect it with the help of the true spirit that the creature entrusts in the river of destiny. Both of these are ways that the angel of love cannot do. Therefore, if kingdom professionals want to survive in the battlefield of all realms, they cannot always rely on the magic of the angel of love, and their own strength must also be improved. Only if you are strong yourself, that is fundamental. Didn't think twice about it. Lin Yu immediately gave the order to the 12-winged Seraph Mia to continue fighting. Victory in this world war is just the beginning. The final combat goal is to occupy the entire 018439 floating island. However, with the main force of the alliance from another world destroyed, the remaining things became much easier to handle. With the war strength of the Angel Army and the kingdom's top military force, they can easily sweep across the entire floating island in another world. I believe it won't take long. Other areas of the floating island in the different world will be completely captured. By that time, the power of the rules of the other world will also be weakened to the limit, making it easy to control. Now is a new day. After processing yesterday's loot, the total number of gold coins Lin Yu received once again broke through to a new record. This time, he summoned a total of about 15 million angels. Of these, 5 million are fallen angels. There are also a lot of hell trolls. In addition, the more than 100 top-level military buildings built in the Holy City also helped Lin Yu obtain more than 1 million top-level military units in Bane. Dragons, nature elves, dark elves, nagas, mountain giants, golden behemoths, etc. There is a wide variety and everything you need. As usual, Lin Yu dispatched the newly summoned 5 million fallen angels to clean up the remaining areas of the current floating island. As for the army of 10 million holy angels, they were once again dispatched to the floating island in another world. With the help of this angel army, the speed of conquering the floating island in another world will be doubled. At most, tomorrow, this floating island No. 018439 will be captured by Lin Yu, and then merge with the floating island he is on. What Lin Yu is looking forward to now is the rules of the floating island world after the integration can carry the power of the true God. In this way, his secretary and Commander Victoria, as well as those angels and kingdom strongmen who have reached the peak level of demigods, can all become gods on the spot. Becoming an immortal god is also Lin Yu's dream. 80%. Chapter 469 Main mission completed. The time comes in the afternoon. Lin Yu was exchanging the secrets of the origin of the law with Angelia in the City Lord's mansion. During this period, he also summoned the 10-winged angel Elena, the Saint of Light Tiffany, and others to study together. Until now, the number of origins of laws mastered by Lin Yu has exceeded 150. This is due to the selfless dedication of secretary and several women, plus the help of law stones. In terms of level, Lin Yu is still in the late stage of demigods, but his true strength has far exceeded that of peak demigods, and has even reached the level of true gods. Even without using the Origin Scepter and Holy Glory Divine Armor, his strength is also comparable to that of the true God. This is the greatest benefit of mastering the origins of laws with multiple different attributes. You can continuously enhance your own strength. Lin Yu can now ignite the divine fire at any time, ascend to the peak demigod state, and once again double his power. With the protection of the power of creation, he will not fail in the process of lighting the divine fire. However, Lin Yu did not immediately light the fire. According to his estimation, if he ignites the divine fire now and breaks through to the level of a god in the future, he will at most be a mid-level god with medium divine power. This is not what Lin Yu wants. Lin Yu's goal is to be promoted to a true god and master powerful divine power in one fell swoop. It would be even better if he could be promoted to the main god in one step. Of course, it is very difficult to become the main god. Throughout the universe, no one has ever done it. If Lin Yu can succeed, it will be unprecedented. The Dragon Clan of 36 Islands in the Bay has restored order. Princess Silver Dragon, who was canonized as the new Dragon Emperor by Lin Yu, immediately came to the Holy City with the help of the teleportation array, and became Lin Yu's personal maid, serving Lin Yu with the Saint of Light, Tiffany. The affairs of the Giant Dragon Clan have been temporarily handed over to her father, the chief of the Silver Dragon Clan, to manage them on their behalf. The leader of the Silver Dragon Clan was defeated and was forced to surrender after suffering heavy losses. But after the injury healed, he accepted his current identity calmly. Just like the nature elf Queen Grace said, it is his honor to serve the angel family and the great Lord of Holy Light. His future is brighter than before. Knowing that the fallen angel army was clearing out the remaining islands, the Silver Dragon Clan leader took the initiative to lead an army of giant dragons to helping Paradise Kingdom become the ruler of the 36 islands in the bay more quickly. Let's talk about the Far East side. With the cooperation of the Natural Elf Empire, the Holy Angel Army and the Illuminati Army successfully wiped out and took over this area. Currently, several large armies have begun to march towards other regions. Say one more thing. When clearing 36 islands in the Gulf and Far East, the Angel Army unexpectedly discovered 2 gold mines and occupied them simultaneously. These 2 gold mines are both medium-sized gold mines like the one in the underground world. The total number of gold coins contained is 10 billion. When the number of miners is full, 100 million gold coins can be collected each day. In other words, Lin Yu can earn 300 million gold coins every day without doing anything now. It's no wonder that those veteran professionals admire gold mine so highly. For Lord professionals, as long as you can occupy a gold mine, you can basically soar into the sky. For Lin Yu, the daily output of the 3 gold mines can also help him summon more than 100 large-scale angel legions every day. This shows how valuable the gold mine is. When the time comes to evening. Just when the exchange between Lin Yu and Secretarian ended, a message from Wanji Floating Island suddenly appeared in Lin Yu's mind. Congratulations, Lord Lin Yu. The troops under your command have successfully occupied the 36 islands in the Bay and the Far East. You have successfully completed the main mission of being promoted from a Lord Professional to the Lord of an island. You are qualified to become the island owner. I would like to ask Lord Lin Yu, are you willing to take over as the owner of the floating island number 014965? Weather. Lin Yu immediately became energetic after receiving this message. He has been waiting for this moment for a long time. Oh, it doesn't seem like it lasts long. It has only been 20 days since he arrived on this floating island. Less than a month. He has already obtained the qualification to become the island owner. This was absolutely unbelievable to those veteran professionals a year ago. At the same time, he has accomplished something that all professionals have failed to do. He has opened a new milestone for professionals in Myriad World's floating island. This is something to be happy about. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately chose yes. At this moment, a bright golden light shot out from the void, shrouding Lin Yu in it. The next second, Lin Yu's figure disappeared from the bed. Saw this scene. Angelia, who was sleeping next to her, looked stunned. Then he seemed to understand something. She waved her right hand, and the void in front of her eyes suddenly collapsed. She walked in, and her elegant and beautiful figure disappeared. 81%. Chapter 470 finally became the owner of the island. A blink of an eye. Lin Yu found himself in a white world. The surrounding space stretches as far as the eye can see. There is no obstruction, just a glimpse of white. There are no elements of heaven and earth here, but there is extremely rich source energy. If you can practice here, it will definitely get twice the result with half the effort. The speed of promotion is no less than that of large-scale hunting of wild monsters. What is this place? Suddenly coming to such a strange place, Lin Yu felt no fear in his heart. He has the protection of the godly armor of holy glory and possesses the super artifact, super source scepter. Even the mid-level true god cannot do anything to him. He just felt a little confused. At this time, a figure suddenly appeared next to Lin Yu. When she saw that beautiful face, Lin Yu felt even more determined. With Secretarian here, he felt even more at ease. As expected of Secretarian, he understood the essence of this space at a glance and said to Lin Yu, "My lord, this is the core of the world and the hiding place of the spirit of rules." She just finished speaking. Another object appeared out of thin air. It was a huge golden eye, emitting colorful light. There are also 5 colored threads wrapped around the pupils. Lin Yu is no longer the newbie who didn't understand anything. He quickly recognized that those threads were the secrets of the law, and the colorful light emitted was the origin of the law. It's obvious. This golden eye is the spirit of rules in the floating island world. The rules of the world are invisible things. It transformed itself into an eye and appeared in front of Lin Yu. In all walks of life in the universe, there are such expressions as the eye of rules, the eye of heaven's punishment, and so on. The shape of its eyes means that it can monitor everything in the world. Dear Lord Lin Yu. At this time, a voice came from the golden eyes, saying to Lin Yu, "I am the world rule of the floating island number 014965. You only need to connect with me with your mind, and you can become the master of the island. By then, everything that happens on the island will be under your control." After saying that, his golden eyes glanced at Secretarian, who was standing next to Lin Yu. It expressed dissatisfaction with Angelia's forcible intrusion. After all, this is its territory. If it were anyone else, it would have been thunderous and furious. But when he thought about Angelia's identity and her sinister character, it instantly lost its temper. I can only endure it. The most important thing is that Angelia is smarter and more knowledgeable than Lin Yu. It is very likely to disrupt its normal operation. Here, Lin Yu was just about to do it. But suddenly he noticed Secretary Anne's soft little hand reaching over and holding his hands. Then, Secretary Anne looked up at the golden eyes and said rudely, "Who are you, and who is my lord? What qualifications do you have to allow my lord's thoughts to connect with you? You are so courageous, you actually dare to try to be on an equal footing with my lord. If you are wise, please obediently hand over your core intelligence." The golden eyes fell silent. Sure enough, it knew this would happen. After a moment, it said helplessly, "Ms. Angelia, these are the rules set by the boss. I am just a part-time worker and I follow the procedures completely." Hear this. Lin Yu looked at Secretary and with some confusion, "What's going on?" Angelia explained, "To my lord, the connection of thoughts is only equivalent to you sharing this floating island with this guy. Under certain circumstances, it can even betray you. For example, it got an order from the rules of the world of battlefield of all realms. It's different if you master its core intelligence. Its life and death are controlled by you. If you are dissatisfied with it, you can erase its spirituality at any time and cultivate a new world rule. At the same time, in this way, the world rules of the 10,000 realms battlefield can no longer control the world." So it is. Lin Yu understood immediately. One is a partnership between two people to open a company. One is to be your own boss. Of course the latter has more power. "Dear Lord Lin Yu," Golden Eyes said quickly, "you don't have to worry at all, I will never betray you. The island owner can control everything in the world of the floating island. As the rule of the world, I will also obey orders. This is also the rule set by our boss." However, Lin Yu did not listen to it. This guy still listens to his boss. Just like Secretary Anne said, only by grasping its core intelligence can we cut off its affiliation with the rules of the battlefield of the world, thereby avoiding future accidents. In fact, the spirit of world rules does not dare to betray Lin Yu. After all, what kind of identity is it? What kind of identity is Lin Yu? Even if you give it 100 courages, it won't dare. Angelia also knows this very well. The reason why she wants the spirit of world rules to hand over the core intelligence is purely because in her opinion, no one can be equal to the Lord of Holy Light of their angelic family. Facing the great Lord of Holy Light, the Supreme God King had to lower his head. Not to mention the spirit of rules in a broken world. If it weren't for the fact that the Lord of Holy Light was here, she would have slapped this eye to make it understand the inviolability of the majesty of the Lord of Holy Light. Here, Lin Yu said, "I think it's better for you to hand over your core intelligence. Now I'm your boss." This, Golden Eyes was still hesitant. After handing over the core intelligence, how can it explain to the big boss? At this moment, it suddenly noticed an unkind gaze directed at it. There is a very clear threat and warning in it. Then, it got scared. He happily handed over his core spiritual intelligence. It was a bright golden ball of light that was taken into Lin Yu's body. Since then, he has become the veritable owner and controller of this floating island. At the same time, the world announcement that Lin Yu became the master of an island also appeared on the island chat channel, instantly shocking all professionals on the island. The native creatures also received reminders from the Supreme God. Suddenly, the whole island was shaken. 81%. Chapter 471 I am not Lord Golden Behemoth, you have got the wrong person. The Island Chat Channel, the Paradise Kingdom, Kingdom Chat Channel, and the major alliance channels of professionals are all in a state of excitement. Almost all professionals are congratulating Lin Yu on becoming the owner of the floating island. It was before. They will most likely be jealous. Produce all kinds of negative emotions. But now, all the professionals are very excited and excited. This is because Lin Yu is no longer their enemy. It is the object of their worship and reverence. Many times, a person who is only slightly stronger than others will be jealous, dissatisfied, or even hostile. But when this person is so powerful that he transcends everything and stands at a peak that no one can climb, his existence will only make others look up to him and admire him. Compared to the tens of millions of professionals on the island, Lin Yu is such a person. The Angel Army and the Kingdom Army under his command have swept across the entire floating island, including the floating island in another world, which will also be included in the territory of the Paradise Kingdom. Who dares to oppose Lin Yu becoming the island owner at this time? Not to mention ordinary professionals, even lord professionals with top-level arms would not dare. Until now, most of the top lords on the island have also become subjects of the Paradise Kingdom. They will only be happy when Lin Yu is promoted to the master of an island. After all, this means that the door to the battlefield of all realms has been opened to them. Following in the footsteps of Lin Yu, they will surely become gods. This is the confidence that Lin Yu brings to them. And as Lin Yu became the owner of the floating island, the remaining professionals who had not yet joined the Paradise Kingdom instantly gave up all their thoughts and chose to bow their heads to reality. Nor do they want to be among the outcasts. Since then, Lin Yu has completely dominated the professional camp. There are very few professionals who have not joined Paradise Kingdom. For example, Lord Golden Behemoth. When he saw the world announcement that Lin Yu had become the island owner in the island chat channel, Lord Golden Behemoth was immediately frightened to the point of trembling in his heart. A feeling of despair filled my body. He wanted to lower his head to Lin Yu more than ever. But the problem is, he has no way. At this time, he was walking alone on the endless prairie. He couldn't even get out of this prairie, let alone heading to Lin Yu's base camp, Sacred City. Only he knew how many nightmares he had experienced in the past few days. Lin Yu may have forgotten me. After all, compared to his current achievements, I am just a little shrimp. For me, that's a good thing. At least, I'm still alive now. This is the only thing that Lord Golden Behemoth is happy about at the moment. As long as a person is not dead, there is still hope. However, shortly after his live voice fell, a bright light door appeared not far in front of him. As the light door opens, a reorganized angel team flew out. The leader is a four-winged angel. The level has reached the holy level. For Lord Golden Behemoth, even a random king-level angel can kill him instantly, let alone a holy-level angel. Are you Lord Golden Behemoth? The four-winged angel glanced over with indifferent eyes. Upon hearing this, Lord Golden Behemoth suddenly turned pale with fright. He backed away and said in horror, I am not Lord Golden Behemoth. I am a combat professional. You have recognized the wrong person. He was terrified. He didn't understand why an angel team suddenly appeared in front of him. And he was targeted by name. It was as if this angel team came specifically to kill him. You know, on the entire floating island, except for the rules of the world, no one knows his name, and no one has seen what he looks like. The Golden Behemoth Legion also collectively betrayed him. He has always been alone. There was no reason for these angels to recognize him. Yes, it's you. The four-winged angel seemed very confident. The identity of Lord Golden Beeman was confirmed on the spot. Without saying a word, she pulled out an angel sword burning with golden flames from her waist. From a distance of 100 meters, he slashed at the Golden Lord Behemoth. The bright sword light reflected the pale face of Lord Golden Behemoth. His first reaction was to run away. However, he found that his body could not move at all. This is domain suppression from the four-winged angel. It can be said that it is easy to imprison a late-level 9th-level professional. He couldn't even ask for mercy. He could only watch helplessly as the sword light slashed through his neck. When he was dying, the scenes he experienced on this floating island appeared in his mind like a horse watching a lantern, and all that was left was regret. I regret that I shouldn't have offended Lin Yu. I also hate that I am not strong enough. If there is an afterlife, Joe, how you must. Mission accomplished. Retreat. The four-winged angel put away the angel sword and disappeared into the distant sky with his team. As quickly as it comes, it goes as quickly as it comes. A purified corpse was left lying on the ground. I believe it won't take long for the creatures on the grassland to clean up the traces here. No one will remember this once famous Lord of Golden Behemoth. Or maybe, he has already been forgotten. 81%. Chapter 472 Young Lord, we meet again. Island Chat Channel. Congratulations to Mr. Lin Yu for becoming the owner of the floating island and creating a new era for professionals. Those veteran professionals spent a whole year but failed to conquer the floating island they were on, but Boss Lin Yu accomplished this feat in less than a month. As expected of Boss Lin Yu, he is so powerful. If nothing else happens, Boss Lin Yu will become the first professional to be promoted to the immortal god. What you're talking about upstairs is nonsense. Did you know that among those veteran professionals of the past year, it seems that the highest level ones are only at the peak of the holy level, and have not yet mastered the power of the law? But Boss Lin Yu has already reached the level of demigod. There is already a huge gap in itself. Who can surpass Mr. Lin Yu? It can be said that it is certain that Lin Yu will be the first to be promoted to a god. Now it is a question of when he will be promoted. I have never seen an immortal god. I don't know what it feels like to become a god. Don't worry, as long as you follow Lin Yu's footsteps, sooner or later we will all become gods. That makes sense. This is exactly what I want to say. Boss Lin Yu is the Lord of Holy Light of the Angel Clan, and his status surpasses that of the Supreme God King. With the protection of Mr. Lin Yu, we can easily become gods. Praise to Mr. Lin Yu. Praise the Holy Light. Countless professionals cheered in the island chat channel. The Paradise Kingdom's Kingdom chat channel is even more excited. They are the people of the Kingdom of Heaven. As the ruler of the Paradise Kingdom, Lin Yu, the stronger and more successful he is, the greater the rewards they will receive. In particular, sanctification and becoming a god are not far away. The extremely high daily tax payments seem trivial in comparison. After all, those things are foreign objects. Why is becoming a god so important? To this day, all kingdom professionals have seen through this. Paying taxes not only helps Paradise Kingdom become more powerful, but also helps themselves. Take Paradise Kingdom's attack on the floating island in another world as an example. The more than 10 million kingdom professionals who participated in the battle have already received high rewards. The level improvement speed is countless times faster than before. What else are they dissatisfied with? At the same time, in a certain area of desolate desert, an upscale village is located. Thousands of dark fire phoenixes were hovering inside and outside the village. Each dark fire phoenix is huge, with black flames burning all over its body, and looks very cool. This is the territory of top Lord Sikong Jun. After this period of hard development, the number of dark fire phoenixes under his command has reached nearly 10,000. The increase in scale is not slow. However, this is far from his goal. His goal is to surpass Lin Yu. Become the most powerful professional lord on the floating island. The results of it, he is getting further and further away from Lin Yu's back. Sikong Jun is a person who is not willing to give in easily, but when he saw the world announcement pinned to the top of the island chat channel, he had to accept it even if he refused. Eventually, he gave up on this unrealistic goal. Replaced with a new dream. He will go to the battlefield of all realms and become an eternal god. Therefore, like other professionals, he chose to join the Paradise Kingdom and became a kingdom professional under Lin Yu. As a human being, sometimes you have to understand what compromise is. Just at this time, a large undead army appeared outside Sikong Jun's territory. There are countless undead spirits of all kinds, flying in the sky and running on the ground. The leader was a skeleton mage wearing a tattered gray robe, sitting on the head of a huge skeleton fire phoenix, followed by densely packed skeleton fire phoenixes. Saw this figure. Sikong Jun's scalp suddenly went numb. The damn skeleton mage came over to beat him Chu Feng again. In fact, with Sikong Jun's current territorial strength, it is not difficult to kill king-level enemies. But the key question is, the skeleton mage is no longer a king, he has stepped into the extraordinary. This he discovered accidentally during World War I. That battle was supposed to be his turnaround, clearing away his shame in one fell swoop, but in the end he was defeated and lost thousands of dark fire phoenixes. From then on, he would never be fooled by the skeleton mage again. Young lord, we meet again. The skeleton mage stands high in the sky. Greeted Sikong Jun very friendly. Sikong Jun said with a dark face, "Get out. I don't want to see you." The skeleton mage grinned and said, "Young man, don't be so angry. I came here sincerely to make friends with you, and the grudges between us can be settled." Sikong Jun sneered, "Do you think I will believe you?" The skeleton mage said seriously, "The great His Majesty Lin Yu has issued a decree that the world will be unified, and the hostile relationship between our native intelligent race and your professionals will be completely lifted. Before, I had a task assigned by the Supreme God, and I had to let you endure the test on the road of growth. Now, the mission is over. You have joined the Kingdom of Heaven, and I will also become a believer of His Majesty Lin Yu and embrace the great holy light. I believe that we can live in true friendship." Sikong Jun mocked. "You are a skeleton and still want to embrace the holy light. Aren't you afraid of being burned to ashes?" The skeleton mage said, "As long as I have faith in my heart, even if it is burned to ashes, my soul can still gain eternal life under the protection of the holy light." Listen to the fanatical voice of the skeleton mage. Sikong Jun fell silent immediately. His intuition told him that the man named Ji Yu was telling the truth and was not deceiving him. Is the war really over? Of course. As the Lord of the world, His Majesty Lin Yu, the Great One, gives an order and all races will surrender. The only enemies left for you professionals are those wild monsters with low IQs. Quote. 81%. Chapter 473 Secretary Anne's Depth. The skeleton mage did not deceive Sikong Jun. Lin Yu indeed issued such an order. After he became the owner of the island, he was equivalent to the ruler of this floating island, and all the native intelligent races were his subjects. He conveyed his orders directly to all races in the world through the rules of the world. And it's not just about ending the hostile relationship between the native intelligent races and the professionals. At the same time, he also ordered all the races in the world to join his Heaven Kingdom and serve him. As for Lin Yu's order, basically no intelligent race objected. Even races from the evil camp have joined his kingdom. All of a sudden, the number of people in Lin Yu's kingdom skyrocketed to several billion. The number of his followers also grew dramatically. In addition, Lin Yu also uploaded relevant information to the Kingdom Chat channel, forcibly ending the war on this floating island as the ruler. If kingdom professionals want to level up, they can only hunt wild monsters. Or hunting undead creatures at night. Ordinary undead creatures have extremely low intelligence and are not qualified to join the Heaven Kingdom. These undead creatures can be hunted. In addition, kingdom professionals can also go to floating islands in other worlds through the time and space channels of various affiliated cities, where there are a lot of wild monsters. In general, the speed of level advancement for kingdom professionals will not be affected. In the core of the world, inside the white space, Lin Yu is practicing in retreat. Golden eyes transformed from the spirit of world rules were suspended behind Lin Yu. At this moment, countless colorful silk threads are extending from the eyes and connecting with Lin Yu's eyebrows. It can be seen that in each colorful silk thread, there is streaming material transmitted to Lin Yu. These substances are the secret of the origin of the law. This is one of the benefits of being an island owner. After becoming the island owner, Lin Yu can directly obtain the core secrets of the law from the world rules without having to understand it himself. Plus the help of the law stone, Lin Yu can easily grasp the origin of the laws of different attributes. In just 2 hours, Lin Yu had mastered more than 200 types of law sources. This is very scary. If it had been anyone else, it would have been impossible. Because their bodies simply cannot withstand the forcible infusion of the origins and mysteries of laws with different attributes. Just the conflict of attributes is enough to kill them. Lin Yu is not worried about this problem. He has the power of creation to suppress the origin of those laws. He can absorb it as much as he wants without worrying about anything. As time goes by, Lin Yu masters an increasing number of law sources. When the number reached 365, the practice suddenly came to an end. It's not because something went wrong on Lin Yu's side, but because the spirit of the world's rules has been sucked dry by Lin Yu. Congratulations, Your Majesty, you have mastered the origins and secrets of all my laws. Pity. Lin Yu felt a little regretful. While he was enjoying himself, the rules of the world suddenly broke. Let him feel frustrated that the communication ended halfway. But he also knows that world rules has given him all. After all, it is just a rule of the mortal world. And the world is still incomplete. It is already very good to have more than 300 law origins with different attributes. As long as the number of the origins of laws mastered exceeds 500, its power will not be as weak as it is now, and even the true God cannot bear it. At this time, Golden Eyes said, when I swallow and integrate the world rules of 018439 Floating Island, the number of law sources I possess will definitely increase dramatically. At that time, I can help His Majesty improve himself again. Lin Yu nodded slightly and said, tomorrow at the latest, my angel army will be able to capture that floating island. At that time, I will capture the world rules of that island and fuse them with you. Hearing this, the Golden Eyes suddenly became excited. Sure enough, it would be better to follow the new boss. The previous boss was obsessed with it. It had been a cow and horse for so many years, but in the end it didn't get any reward. Instead, it had to be scolded if something went wrong at work. It's really enough. If it hadn't been unable to resist, it would have given up its game long ago. Now, with a new boss backing it, it can be considered a new life. The future is also more promising. Lin Yu asked, has the cross-border teleportation array to Blue Star been repaired? Golden Eyes replied, it's just a little short. If Your Majesty can ask Lady Angelia to help me, the teleportation array can be repaired and activated immediately. Your Majesty, Don't worry, this matter is very simple for Lady Angelia. Hearing this, Lin Yu looked at Secretary N, who was standing quietly aside. Angelia said respectfully, "My lord, I have checked the cross-border teleportation array. It is indeed very simple to repair. You only need to penetrate a space-time channel. Then leave it to you." Secretary N snorted lightly. Then the figure flashed and disappeared from the place. After a while, Lin Yu only heard a roar, and then the entire white space trembled. Then, Secretary N came back and reported to Lin Yu that everything was done. Lin Yu's mouth twitched slightly. I thought she was worthy of being his Secretary N. He would never be able to make out the movement just now. Indirectly, even though he has mastered the origin of more than 300 laws, there is still a long gap in power between him and Secretary N. This also made Lin Yu feel a little confused. He seemed to have never really detected Secretary An's depth. Still need to keep working hard. 81%. Chapter 474 The Power of the Island Owner. After draining the essence of the laws of the world's rules. The rules of the world are of little value to Lin Yu for the time being. There is no need to sit down and talk. Now, he can communicate with world rules anytime and anywhere. He does not need to ask like before. Whether he can even get a reply from world rules depends on its mood. Now, if the rules of the world ignore him, he can directly press the rules of the world to the ground and give him a violent hammer. This is the authority of the island owner. From the rules of the world, Lin Yu also learned about another authority he has, that is, he can actively open the door to time and space leading to the battlefield of all realms. It doesn't matter when you turn it on. Lin Yu is not in a hurry about this. Because the battlefield of all realms is different from the floating island. There is the world of the true God. There are crises and all kinds of dangers everywhere. He doesn't even have a real god under his command, so he can't enter rashly. Before going to the battlefield of all realms, he needs to integrate the floating island in another world with his floating island to enhance the power of the world's rules to the point of carrying the true god. When Secretary N, Victoria, Seraph Mia, Archangel Elena and other peak demigods are promoted to true gods, he can begin to conquer the battlefields of all realms. In addition, he will also take the top local demigods, such as the Queen of Nature Elf, Queen of Dark Elf, Queen Medusa, etc., with him after they become gods. According to the rules of the world, he can not only take the army of arms to the battlefields of all realms. And you can also bring his royal capital, Holy City, with you. Because the Holy City is considered his core territory. Even on the battlefield of all realms, he can continue to recruit armies through the arms buildings in the Holy City. Other Lord professions can do the same. The difference is, other Lord professionals who want to go to the battlefield of all realms need Lin Yu's permission. Otherwise, the gate of time and space will not be open to them. If you want to enter the battlefield of all realms without passing through the gate of time and space, you can only use the power of law to forcibly penetrate time and space after reaching the peak of demigods. But obviously, the success rate of this method is very low. Because whether they can be promoted to the peak demigod is a question. It can be said that Lin Yu has mastered the lifeblood of all professionals on the island after becoming the owner of the island. If they go against Lin Yu, even if they don't die by the angel's sword, they will only be able to stay on the island or the blue star for the rest of their lives, with no possibility of climbing up. It can also be seen from here. How much power does one have as the lord of an island? Not to mention professionals, all native intelligent races must also surrender. A blink of an eye. Lin Yu and Secretary and returned to the city lord's mansion. He said to Angelia, "Tomorrow at the latest, the angel army should be able to capture the floating island in another world. Then we will go there and suppress the spirit of rules in that world." "As you command, my lord." Secretary and nodded respectfully. The spirit of the world rules of the floating island in another world is weaker than the world rules of this floating island. For her, suppression was easy. Later, Secretary and took out 2 bright balls of light from the storage equipment ring of time and space he wore with him. The diameter of each light ball is about 10 centimeters. It exudes a very huge original aura. In addition, there is also a terrifying divine power in it. At least for Lin Yu now, this pressure is very powerful. It even made him feel like he was being pressed down by 2 mountains. "My lord," Secretary and said to Lin Yu, "this is the god of death, Backwith, and the divinity of the rock demon that you gave me before. I have purified them. It not only carries their divine power, but also the origin of the laws they master. Now, your strength has surpassed the level of the lower true God, and you can easily absorb it into your body, thereby increasing the number of your law sources. If you didn't tell me, I would have forgotten. Lin Yu smiled and took the 2 divine light balls handed over by Secretary N. In addition to his divinity, he also holds in his hand the godhead of the god of death, Backwith, and his natal artifact, the death suit. The death set is an evil artifact belonging to the underworld camp. It's perfect for fallen angels to wear. After all, fallen angels also wield the power of the underworld. However, fallen angels have their own angel suits, so there's no need for them. Lin Yu had already considered suitable candidates for the death suit. That is the dark elf Queen Nadia. He planned to give Nadine the death godhead when she came to the surface world, including the death godhead of the god of death, Backwith. With the support of Death Godhead and Death God suit, the Dark Elf Queen Nadia has a high probability of directly becoming a Death God and possessing more powerful combat power. The war in the underworld is essentially over. If nothing unexpected happens. The army of fallen angels led by Victoria and Priscilla, and the army of dark elves led by Nadia, will return to the Holy City today. Let's not talk about this for now. Lin Yu took Secretary Anne's soft little hand and went straight to the City Lord's mansion. He needs to fuse the divinity of Death Barkerwell and the Rock Demon with the help of Secretary N. With Secretary N here, he is motivated in everything he does. 81%. Chapter 475 The Cross-Border Teleportation Array opens. Just when Lin Yu merged the 2 divinities. Island Chat Channel and Kingdom Chat Channel also vibrated at the same time. Except for those Kingdom professionals who are on the floating island in another world, all the professionals on the island are cheering. The reason is simple. They simultaneously received information prompts from Myriad World's floating island. It means that the cross-border teleportation array leading to Blue Star has been successfully repaired, and all professionals with full energy bars can teleport back to Blue Star. In addition, because this floating island already has a controller. Therefore, professionals on the island can freely enter and exit this floating island. There is no need to recharge professional brand every time you return to Blue Star. Of course, if you want to bring troops and non-professional creatures back to Blue Star, you still have to pay gold coins. Each time you transfer a unit, you need to pay 5,000 gold coins. When Lin Yu learned that teleporting troops needed to pay this fee, his first reaction was heartache. He was still very weak at that time. 5,000 gold coins is still a large sum of money to him. Enough to recruit 100 double-winged angels. As for now, none of this matters. Not because of how rich he is, but because as the island owner, he has an exclusive privilege, that is, there is no fee to teleport troops. The core intelligence of the world's rules is in the hands of Lin Yu. How can it dare to collect Lin Yu's gold coins? The whole thing now belongs to Lin Yu. To be realistic, all the gold coins paid by the professionals will end up in Lin Yu's pocket. This is the difference between a boss and a worker. Island Chat Channel. It's not easy. I can finally return to Blue Star. The more than 20 days I spent on the floating island felt like a century had passed. Since this period of time, I have been tense all the time. If it weren't for the faith support of my family still waiting for me in Blue Star, my spirit would have collapsed. Normal, we were just ordinary people before we came to the floating island. After entering the floating island, what we experienced the most was death and despair. It's good to be able to hold on. As early as the beginning of Advent, some members of my team couldn't bear it, had a mental breakdown, and finally chose to commit suicide by rushing into the monster group. Pity. If those people knew that in just over 20 days, Lin Yu would ascend to the position of island owner and end the war on the island, they would definitely be able to survive. Oh, what's the use of this kind of person even if he can barely survive until now? The battlefield of all realms is more dangerous than the floating island. People with such a mentality, even if they are lucky enough to survive until now, will have to die on the battlefield of the world in the future. That's right. No one should have a mental breakdown or commit suicide now, right? The experiences during this period have been enough to temper us. This is true. Don't look at it, it's only a short period of 20 days. But the tens of millions of professionals on the island have all undergone earth-shaking changes. Anyone who survives is completely transformed. This kind of rebirth refers not only to the body, but also to the inner world. Just like the more than 10 million kingdom professionals who slaughtered the army of foreign professionals on the floating island in another world, they could not do such a thing before coming to the floating island. It's not that they have become cold-blooded and cruel. It can only be said that the experiences along the way have allowed them to adapt to the rules of the extraordinary world. All professionals have grown. This is naturally a good thing. Of course, this doesn't mean that they don't miss their life in Blue Star. Many times, the tense spirit also needs to be relaxed. This is also the reason why professionals want to return to Blue Star to live for a while after experiencing all kinds of cruelty on the floating island. If you stay on the floating island all the time, there will be endless killing. A lot of people have to go crazy. About 2 hours later. There are professionals sending messages in the chat channel. Brothers, my energy bar has reached full value. See you in a week. Depend on. So fast. I'm getting closer too. I can be full of energy and return to Blue Star in half an hour at most. If nothing else, Blue Star must be in turbulent times now. Those foreign professionals such as Showery, Xiaobanxi and others who escaped back must have spread the news about our invasion of their floating island. The death of more than 10 million foreign professionals is not a small matter. It must have shocked the whole world. I don't know how people around the world talk about our boss Lin Yu. Most of them will regard him as a big devil and a murderer. It doesn't matter how you discuss it. History is always in the hands of the victor only. The strength of the kingdom of heaven is enough to shut up any country in Blue Star. A reminder to everyone, don't think about letting yourself go when you return to Blue Star. It is important to always remember that we are professionals in the kingdom of heaven. Isn't this nonsense? I don't want to be chased across borders by an army of angels. With the current war strength of the angel army, it will be easy to destroy the entire Blue Star civilization. This is no exaggeration. In the kingdom of heaven, there are currently more than 100 cities of angels. There are many medium-sized angel cities that can carry an army of millions of angels. Coupled with the extremely large number of high-level angels and even an army of fallen angels exceeding 10 million in size, it is enough to easily sweep across the entire Blue Star. Soon, professionals one after another activated their brands. Returned to Blue Star. With their return, Sha Kingdom was also shaken. Because everyone wants to know what is happening on number 014965 floating island now. 82%. Chapter 476 The Shocked World. His Majesty Lin Yu fully conquered the floating island No 014965 and officially became the master of the island. The kingdom of heaven has tens of millions of angels under its command, hundreds of millions of military units, and tens of millions of Sha Kingdom professionals, all of whom have become subjects of the kingdom of heaven and are loyal to King Lin Yu. The army of millions of fallen angels swept across the dragon and sea tribes, forcing the peak demigod Queen Medusa to surrender. The goddess of nature and elves once came to the floating island to meet His Majesty Lin Yu. His Majesty Lin Yu is called the Lord of Holy Light, commanding the holy and bright camp, and his status surpasses the supreme god. It is reported that boss Lin Yu has more than one artifact in his hands. His Majesty Lin Yu has stepped into the realm of demigods, and becoming an immortal god is just around the corner. Number 018439 Floating Island is about to be conquered by the Kingdom of Paradise. The gate of time and space has been opened, and the kingdom of heaven may set out to conquer the battlefield of all realms at any time. As more and more Sha Kingdom professionals return. Blue Star's professional forum also became excited. Many Sha Kingdom professionals revealed information about the Paradise Kingdom and the floating island numbered 014965 on the professional forum. These are no secrets. There is no need to be conservative. And when people from all over the world squatted in the professional forum and saw these posts, they finally figured out what happened on floating island number 014965. At the same time, they also have a better understanding of the information about the kingdom of heaven. However, the more people learn about it, the more panic the world's top leaders become. Tens of millions of angel armies, more than 100 angel cities that are more powerful than interstellar battleships, and hundreds of millions of elite armies of various races. What kind of terrifying war power is this? They even doubt it. Once the kingdom of heaven chooses to invade Blue Star, even if the whole world joins forces, it will be difficult to resist the attack of the army of the kingdom of heaven. Although the power of technological weapons has not failed in Blue Star and can still be used, even a big mushroom can hardly kill a demigod-level expert. As for the city of angels in the kingdom of heaven, it is basically even more unpromising. A war weapon like City of Angels is invincible when it comes to Blue Star. No force can destroy it. For a time, all countries in the world were shrouded in a layer of gloom. Especially countries such as Showery and Xiaobanxi. After returning to Blue Star, they often spoke ill of Lin Yu in the professional forum and internationally, and expressed their determination to boycott Paradise Kingdom. But now, the true war strength of the Kingdom of Heaven is known. They immediately regretted it. I really want to take back what I said. If time could be turned back, not only would they not boycott Heaven Kingdom, they would also unanimously remain silent. As for the war taking place on their floating island, they would rather treat it as invisible. The reason is simple. Remaining silent can save their lives. If they blindly become the enemy of Paradise Kingdom, not only their army of professionals on the floating island may be destroyed, but also their country on Blue Star. Extraordinary power dominates the floating island. It will also soon dominate the entire Blue Star. No one knows whether Lin Yu, who has such a powerful war power, will be crazy enough to attack their country, or even the entire Blue Star. And once Lin Yu takes action, even if the Blue Star civilization is not destroyed, their country will have to finish. Therefore, remaining silent during this special period is the most correct thing to do. But clearly they were on the wrong track, trying to use the power of other countries and international public opinion to boycott the Paradise Kingdom. This is completely seeking death. Unfortunately, there is no use regretting now. They can only pray that Lin Yu is not crazy enough to bring the war to Blue Star. Otherwise, they will be the first to die. In fact, in just 1 or 2 days, countries including Sakura country, Banksy country, etc. have been hit hard from various fields. It was not Sha Guo who took action. But there are more than 2 billion Western Christians scattered around the world. The crazy Westerners are attacking these countries in various ways. No one who participated in that war was spared. Because Westerners believe that if foreign professionals such as Shaori and Xiaobangxi dare to go to war with the Kingdom of Heaven, they are going against their God. The countries behind them must also be punished. This will appease the wrath of God. Then prevent God from burning his anger to Blue Star and bringing disaster to this world. It can be said that under the attack of the Westerners, countries such as Sakura country and Banksy country have had a very difficult time in the past 2 days. Their top management was already in a state of distress. The information brought back by Sha Kingdom professionals from the floating island also made them fall into the ice cellar. I have to be woken up by nightmares even when I sleep. In comparison, Sha Kingdom was in a state of joy. The stronger the Kingdom of Heaven becomes, the higher the status and influence of Sha Kingdom will be in Blue Star. Last night, high-level officials from many countries flew in overnight, offering various olive branches and expressing their intention to establish cooperative relations with Sha Guo in various fields. Overnight, the Sha Kingdom became popular all over the world. Beautiful countries have to step aside. However, the beautiful country has no time to care about this. Because the problem in the beautiful country is more serious. Originally, the purpose of the beautiful country was to put interests first. In addition, many of their senior officials were Westerners. This would be a problem unless there was chaos. 82%. Chapter 477 Lin Yu's classmates. Just when the entire Sha Kingdom was shaken by the return of a large number of professionals. In Guangwu City, in the classroom of Class 7 of Mohu Academy and University, several figures appeared one after another. First, golden light fell in the classroom. Immediately afterwards, their figures appeared out of thin air. This situation was exactly the same as when they were summoned to the floating island of all realms. The difference is, initially, 7 people were summoned together. Now, there are only 3 students who have returned. Lu Cheng, Zhuang Tianrui, Wang Hong. The 3 students greeted each other. The pretty faces all showed joy. Although they were on the same floating island, they were not teleported together. Because the first transfer location is random. Now that they meet and return to the bright classroom together, the 3 of them feel as if they are in another world. Just because they have experienced too many things during this time. Even the crisis of death has been experienced. How could they not be sad to be able to return to Blue Star alive? Besides us, there are 4 more who haven't come back. That boy Wei Sheng went to the floating island in another world. I heard that he led his army of wild boars across the battlefield in another world and killed countless Shaori and Xiaobangxi. I really envy that guy. It's a pity that my level is too low, otherwise I would have gone too. At this time, a tall young man sighed and said, Ren Yangwei died on the floating island. As for Fang Rong, I have not been able to contact him until now. It is most likely that he died right after he landed on the island. Hear this. The other 2 people also sighed. They were all students in the same class before. Although the relationship cannot be said to be very good, it is at least not bad. Now that they have successfully returned to Blue Star, 2 of their classmates will never come back, which makes them feel a little sad. Boss Lin Yu hasn't come back yet. Mention the name. The 3 people present were all refreshed. The expression in his eyes and face showed a look of reverence involuntarily. Their admiration and awe for Lin Yu is completely from the heart. Put aside the relationship between classmates. Lin Yu is a godlike existence in their hearts. The slightly thin Lu Cheng said with a smile, Your Majesty has just become the lord of an island. There must be a lot going on. It is normal for him not to return for a while. Damn, you kid, Your Majesty, this title is so easy to pronounce. That is required. Lu Cheng smiled, and then said with a solemn expression, We are no longer ordinary people, but professionals in the extraordinary world. We must abide by the rules of the extraordinary world and get used to them, so as not to bring disaster to ourselves. You must also remember. Hearing this, Zhuang Tianrui and Wang Hong also nodded solemnly. For the sake of his classmates, Lin Yu will definitely not make things difficult for them. They know what Lin Yu is like. But those angels were different. The most taboo thing for angels is for others to call their Lord of Holy Light by his true name. There is no problem if you add a suffix to your real name, such as, Your Majesty Lin Yu. But if you call him by his first name, that would be disrespectful. In the presence of angels, this is an act seeking death. This is the truth, summarized by countless professionals through bloody lessons. They didn't dare to verify whether the divine swords in the hands of those angels were sharp enough to cut off their heads. How long do you 2 plan to stay on Blue Star? 3 days at most. The tall Zhuang Tianrui said. The changes in the floating island are too fast. The longer you rest, the easier it is to get out of touch or even be eliminated. I don't want to be at the bottom all the time, let alone die. You have a point. Follow His Majesty's footsteps. Work hard and we will become gods. All 3 of them were smiling and full of expectations for the future. Just at this time, several figures quickly walked into the classroom. Zhuang Tianrui and the other 3 tensed up their nerves like a conditioned reflex. At the same time, he took out his weapons. Not bad. The vigilance is high. This at least shows that you are not wasting your time on the floating island. The leading middle-aged man said with a smile. He is none other than Captain Chen, who had learned information from Su Yi before. At this moment, the beautiful and sexy supervisor Su was also following, and a pair of starry eyes fell on Zhuang Tianrui and the other 3. Zhuang Tianrui and the other 2 secretly rolled their eyes. In a dangerous place like the floating island, if they weren't more vigilant, they would have died long ago. It has become their professional instinct to always be alert to the surrounding environment. Su Yi asked. Zhuang Tianrui, why are there only 3 of you? Where are the others? Teacher Su. Zhuang Tianrui shook his head and replied. Feng Rong and Ren Yangwei are dead, and Wei Sheng is fighting on the floating island in another world. Hearing this, Su Yi also sighed. Although it was normal for people to die on the floating island, after all, those 2 were her students. She was not in a good mood when she heard about the death. Captain Chen didn't care about this. He asked directly, Where is your classmate Lin Yu now? Is he the ruler of the Kingdom of Heaven? Zhuang Tianrui glanced at Captain Chen. This is an extraordinary level of power. For the 3 of them, extraordinary professionals are terrifying existences that they cannot contend with. I have no idea. After entering the floating island, we lost contact. Don't ask us, we don't know either. Lu Cheng and Wang Hong on the side also shook their heads. Saw this scene. Instead of expressing dissatisfaction, Captain Chen had a bright smile on his face. Since you don't know, then forget it. Someone will come over later to register your professional information. I hope you will cooperate. Don't worry, this is just a simple registration. It will not affect the heavenly country that you serve as professionals. 82%. Chapter 478 Determine the identity and find the real owner. Captain Chen works vigorously and resolutely. After he finished speaking, he said hello to Su Yi beside him and led the team out of the classroom. Coming outside, a team member asked, Captain, are we going to continue to stay here until the student named Lin Yu returns and his identity is completely confirmed? No, Captain Chen waved his hand and said, Go back and report directly, we found Lin Yu. Lin Yu, in his mouth. Naturally, it refers to Lin Yu, the ruler of the heavenly kingdom. The team members were stunned for a moment and asked in confusion, Captain, didn't they say they lost contact after arriving on the island and didn't know Lin Yu's identity? Captain Chen smiled and said, "Those three boys didn't tell the truth. The Lin Yu we are looking for is their classmate." Hearing this, several team members looked shocked. The next moment, their faces also showed excited expressions. Among the tens of millions of professionals who were summoned to Floating Island of all realms, there was more than one named Lin Yu. None of them expected that their luck would be so good. The rightful lord was before their eyes. Ing it to the police is a great achievement. At this time, a team member suddenly frowned and said, "Captain, why do they hide Lin Yu's true identity? Are they afraid of something? Afraid of exposing Lin Yu's information?" Finally, Lin Yu took revenge. "If that's the case, I'm afraid this Lin Yu will be difficult to contact. The power Lin Yu controls is too powerful." All countries, including Sha State, also felt tremendous oppression from Lin Yu. They hope that Lin Yu will be a positive ruler. This is the best for Sha Kingdom and the entire Blue Star. In other words, if Lin Yu is a tyrannical ruler, then Blue Star's future will be worrying. "Don't worry," Captain Chen said. "Although I have never met Lin Yu, I believe he is an ambitious young man. What I saw in the eyes of those three people was their respect for Lin Yu, not fear. They took the initiative to help Lin Yu hide his identity. These guys." One of the team members shook his head dumbfounded. "They even fooled us. Don't they know that we are?" "Forget it, stop talking." Another team member said. "It seems that Lin Yu has an extremely high status in their hearts. This is normal." Captain Chen sighed, and then said, "I have been practicing on the floating island for a whole year and have experienced countless dangerous and desperate situations. Now I am only at the extraordinary level. On the other hand, Lin Yu has only been on the island for more than 20 days, and he has already been promoted to the level of demigod. Even becoming an immortal god is not far away. To be honest, even I have to look at him with respect." Captain Chen's words were unanimously recognized by the players present. The extraordinary world is originally a world where the strong are respected. Facing a strong man at the demigod level, even their captain who has reached the extraordinary level is considered too weak to be vulnerable. Don't talk about extraordinary level. Even the saint level experts who are at the top of Blue Star have to lower their heads in front of the demigods. Looking at the entire Blue Star, there are very few established professionals who have reached the saint level. Until now, the number of saint level professionals in Sha Kingdom does not exceed 5. But according to the information revealed by those professionals, there are tens of thousands of holy level powerhouses in Paradise Kingdom. There are hundreds of demigods that all professionals look up to. Maybe even more. What is this concept? This shows how terrifying the power of Paradise Kingdom is. As the ruler of Paradise Kingdom, Lin Yu naturally stands on top of the world, enough to be respected by everyone in Blue Star, whether they are veteran professionals or newcomers. It can be said that Lin Yu has become a legendary figure in the Blue Star world. His figure also makes countless people look up to him. Let's go. Go back and report to your superiors first. Yes, Captain. After leaving one team member to continue squatting, the other team members quickly left the Magic Martial Arts Academy. Inside the classroom, Su Yi glanced at the three of them and said, "Stop lying in front of me. You can't deceive me, and you can't deceive Captain Chen either." Zhuang Tianrui and the other three. Sure enough, they are still a little younger. Whether it is Director Sub or Captain Chen, they have experienced strong winds and waves on the floating island. Don't tell me at a glance whether what they just said is true or false. At least by observing words and colors, you can get a rough idea. Lu Cheng said with a smile, "Teacher Su, don't blame us. How can we dare to disclose His Majesty's information? Moreover, what we said is not a lie. We did lose contact with His Majesty Lin Yu after we went to the island." His Majesty. Amelia Su was also a little surprised by this title. Lu Cheng said frankly, "We should be in awe of His Majesty Lin Yu." Hearing this, Su Yi's expression became solemn. She did not expect the attitude of Lu Cheng and the others towards Lin Yu. This also indirectly shows how high Lin Yu's status is in the hearts of tens of millions of Sha Kingdom professionals. She was very surprised by this. Of course, this is normal, because Su Yi has not personally experienced the series of events that happened on 014965 Floating Island. Of course she didn't know that for tens of millions of Sha Kingdom professionals, Lin Yu, like his angels, is sacred and cannot be profaned. 82%. Chapter 479. The creator is busy. Did not think of. My student actually became the owner of the floating island. There are hundreds of millions of troops under his command. I have already reached the level of a demigod, and becoming a god is just around the corner. In the office, Su Yi couldn't calm down. When the 7 Lin Yus were summoned to Myriad World's floating island, her biggest expectation for Lin Yu and others was that a Lord Professional would appear among them. Because the number of Lord Professionals is too small. At the same time, Lord Professionals also have more advantages than combat professionals and have more hope of climbing to the top. As a combat professional, she also had the idea of joining a Lord Professional. Make yourself stronger with the help of Lord Professionals. Now, her expectations have been repaid. But the high expectations she received made her temporarily unbearable. She just wanted a Lord Professional to provide her with shelter and help, but in the end, the owner of a floating island came out. It made her feel like she was in a dream. The most important is, if Lin Yu rejects her, she will lose face. If Lin Yu was just an ordinary Lord Professional, she would not have any worries in this regard. But here's the thing. Lin Yu's standing position is too high. It was tall enough for her to look up, but she didn't dare to get close easily. Let's wait until Lin Yu comes back. In other words, I will go directly to 014965 Floating Island to find him. Although Su Yi is not a professional of 014965 Floating Island, she can still enter 014965 Floating Island as an employee with the help of the professional marks of Zhuang Tianrui and the others. At first, Lin Yu had the idea of going to the island as an employee. The target candidate for his employment is the beautiful and sexy class teacher Su Yi. If it weren't for the sudden arrival of Myriad World's floating island and the surprise selection of him, he might have already applied for an employee to Director Subin. Compared to the turbulent Blue Star, the floating island where Lin Yu was located gradually became calmer. Because the large-scale war is over. The professionals are either hunting ordinary wild monsters, or they have gathered their energy and returned to Blue Star for vacation. The holy city is quite lively. The reason is simple. The kingdom's armies under Lin Yu are returning one after another. Especially the army of fallen angels in the underground world, as well as the millions of dark elves led by the dark elf Queen Nadia, all return to the sacred city. At a glance, there are sexy figures everywhere in the city. The tall figure and the long straight white legs make people feel dazzled. It's a pity that no one appreciates this beautiful scenery. The same goes for Lin Yu. He was currently in the city lord's mansion, tirelessly exchanging the secrets of the laws with Secretary N. As the 2 divine light balls were continuously absorbed and fused by him, the number of law sources he mastered also increased rapidly. In addition to the origin of the law, the divinity contained in it is also integrated into Lin Yu's body. Divinity is the essence of gods. It contains the living being's understanding of the laws of the Great Road at the level of true gods. The laws of demigods and the laws of true gods are different, and they are not on the same level in terms of power. In addition, divinity will continuously produce an immortal substance. Immortal matter is the secret of the immortality of the gods. With it, gods can achieve true immortality. Obtaining 2 divinities at once was of great benefit to Lin Yu. The most intuitive point, that is, after he becomes a god, his divine power will become even more powerful. Grown-ups. Inside the spiritual field space outside the city. A figure appeared in front of Victoria. It was Gladys, who was also a fallen angel. It is worth mentioning that Gladys is no longer a 10-winged fallen angel. Now, she has returned to the status of a 12-winged fallen angel. If it weren't for the fact that the power of rules in this world was too weak, she would be able to directly become a god while recovering her status, and she would not be a lower-level god with weak divine power. Gladys said respectfully. My lord is studying the secrets of the law with His Majesty Angelia. Hearing this, Victoria's expression was startled. The next second, an inexplicable fire ignited in her heart. The secret of studying the law is obviously. Victoria said she was very angry. The object of her anger was of course not the Supreme Creator, but Angelia. This Angelia has no martial ethics. She fought hard in the underground world, while Angelia served the Creator behind the scenes. In the current situation, even if she fights for hundreds or thousands of years and conquers a vast galaxy world, she still cannot keep up with Angelia's status in the heart of the Supreme Creator. For Victoria, this is terrible news. After this period of hard work, she once again trained 3 super hell warriors in the underground world, all of whom have combat capabilities comparable to those of true gods. Originally, she was planning to report the good news to the Creator, so that the Creator can be happy. As a result, Gladys told her that the Creator was busy. Gladys, what do you think will happen if I shrink the body of a fallen angel right now? Your Majesty, please do not be impulsive. Gladys quickly persuaded. This world cannot bear the power of your personality. Once the seal is lifted, the world will surely collapse. Hateful. Victoria cursed angrily. Gladys on the side lowered her head, pretending not to hear. In the fight between the 18-winged archangels, she, a little 12-winged angel, was not qualified to participate. 82%. Chapter 480. Making you so weak, making you so weak. Holy Angel Camp and Fallen Angel Camp. They have been fighting in the Lord God's realm for tens of millions of years and are incompatible with each other. In order to exile them fallen angels, several 18-winged archangels from the Holy Angel Camp even broke into the underworld, cut it in two, and used half of the underworld to create a hell for them to exile. But as a third-level angel, Gladys knows it very well. The battle between the fallen angel camp and the Holy Angel Camp is far from a life-and-death battle. If not, it's not just a simple exile. As for the 7 18-winged archangels, they have never been in contact with each other in life or death. After all, no matter what, they were all conceived from the original reincarnation pool. No matter how different their ideas were, they could not erase the close relationship between them. Therefore, Gladys knew that the right thing for her to do now was to remain silent. A few curse words will not lose a few pieces of meat. If she gets involved, when Victoria's anger subsides, he might even turn around and beat her up. It's normal for a younger sister to be angry with her older sister. If the 12-winged angel dares to disrespect the 18-winged archangel, the consequences will be much more serious. Just at this time, Victoria's figure suddenly disappeared. Gladys reflexively prepared to follow him. But the next moment, she paused on the spot. Because she was keenly aware that the rules of heaven and earth were trembling. And vaguely heard Victoria's roar and screams. Let you be so weak, let you be so weak. Quote. Gladys' delicate body trembled slightly. She quickly took a deep breath and said to herself, although I'm angry, my attack should be serious. Once she vents her anger, everything will be fine. Immediately, Gladys didn't think anymore. She was sitting cross-legged and suspended in the sky. The 12 fallen angel wings behind him were fully extended, exuding a rich blood light. She is absorbing as much evolutionary matter as possible in the spirit field space. Although she has returned to her former status, she, like all 12-winged fallen angels, wants to break through the status of a third-level angel and be promoted to a 14-winged angel or even a 16-winged archangel. And I don't know why. Ever since he came to this world and served the Supreme Creator, she vaguely felt that there seemed to be a crack in the barrier of her personality. She is expected to reach the next level. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, Lin Yu spent a whole day and night in seclusion with Secretary N. This time in retreat, he gained even more. The 2 divine light balls from the rock demon and the god of death, Bakvis, have been completely absorbed by him. The divinity and the origin of the laws contained in it are all integrated into his body. The number of law sources he mastered has skyrocketed to more than 500. In other words, the 2 divine light balls contributed to him more than 100 laws of origin with different attributes. The reason why there are so many is because both the rock demon and the god of death, Bakvis, are serious gods. As gods, it is normal for them to master the secrets of 1 or 200 laws in total. In addition, they are all true gods from the underworld. Most of the laws and secrets that he masters belong to the underworld and evil attributes. Most of the original secrets of the laws and rules of the floating island world are not repeated. Therefore, Lin Yu was able to harvest so many sources of laws at once. The bedroom in the annex of the city lord's mansion. Lin Yu sat cross-legged on the bed. I saw that with a squeeze of his right hand, the time and space in his palm instantly collapsed. A dark cave appeared. This is a man-made black hole. Although its power is far inferior to that of naturally formed black holes in the universe, it still has extremely terrifying devouring power. Once it breaks out, it can be said to be easy to swallow up an area with a radius of thousands of kilometers. However, the power of the black hole does not affect the outside world. Because it was restricted in Lin Yu's palm. Sensing the terrifying energy carried in the black hole, Lin Yu couldn't help but mutter to himself, based on the more than 500 origins of laws I have mastered now, once I become a god in the future, I will at least be a peak mid-level god. It's not certain that we will reach the level of a true god. In other words, Lin Yu's small goal has basically been achieved. Angelia on the side immediately complimented and said, with my lord's appearance, I will definitely become the supreme god in a short time. There was one thing she didn't say. That is, if Lin Yu enters the Lord's divine realm, and merges the divine personality and divinity he left in the divine realm, then he will not be as simple as becoming the supreme god. But it can directly surpass the supreme god. Hope so. Lin Yu said with a smile. The supreme god, that is the rank of the goddess of nature and elves. It is also the height at which the 18-winged archangel of the angel clan stands. It's still too far away for him now. Even if he can become a high-level true god with powerful divine power, he still has to look up to the supreme god. Let's not talk about this yet. Follow me to a floating island in another world. The war there should be over. Lin Yu turned to look at Angelia. At this time, secretary and was radiant and full of energy. The whole person is breathtakingly beautiful. If it weren't for the fact that he had practiced for a day and a night, and his energy and spirit were in a very satisfied state, Lin Yu would have been unable to bear it anymore. Angelia stood up as instructed. Then he helped Lin Yu get dressed and wash up. For her, she can accept whatever the Lord of Holy Light does. After all, as of now, her physique is much better than that of the Lord of Holy Light. Physique is much better than that of the Lord of Holy Light.